I've done essays on this. I've talked about this on other people's podcasts. I think I might have talked about it on this podcast as well. When the idea of putting women into selective services, by the way, which is quote unquote the draft here, mandatory conscription in the United States, that is a trump card that men will always have on women. So if women were really interested in true gender parity and true gender equality, they would be marching on Washington for the right to die from being drafted and conscripted. And until I don't know how many men have died, until like 10 million men have died because they're the ones who got in. I don't know, however, whatever the amount, let's just round it off. Okay. 5 million, until 5 million women have died in combat defending the country, then no man should ever have to be drafted again. You want real equity, ladies? That's what you should be fighting for, but you're not going to do that. In fact, in particular, like traditional conservatives, they hate the idea of women going and being drafted, not because of gender parity or anything like that, but because they think that men are too much of pussies, that now we need women to be drafted into the military to protect your weak ass. Just like I said, who's going to protect you, gentlemen? It's going to be G.I. Jane. It's going to be, there because they've got the muscle and they're built for combat, right? So they should be the one. No. And that's why it didn't get ratified, by the way. It's been up several times. I remember discussing the draft for women with Dalrock back in 2015. I think that was the first time it was proposed. And people were like, there was MRAs at the time going, yeah, finally, we got some justice. No, you're not. That will never see the light of day. And it didn't. And they tried to do it again back in 2019, 2020, I think. And you know what? Didn't get in the bill. Didn't make it in there. Surprise, surprise, surprise. No women in there. Yeah, we're not going to draft women at all. And they're still entitled. Why would we, right? They're still entitled to all the benefits that men have to excuse me, sign up for selective service for, which we think of as just sort of general basic, things that we have to do, right? I'll be a Marine if you want me to be in the military, if the duty calls, right? So now I can get a student loan, and now I can get a driver's license in some states. Now I can get, X, Y, and now I can vote, whatever it is, because I signed up for selective services. But because you have a vagina, you don't have to do that. You bring that up, and then it's like, well, women fight too, right? Because what happens? The reality is, I, as a young man at 18 years old, I've got to sign up for selective services. And if I don't, I'm not entitled to the same privileges that a woman is in the United States. Anyways, in different countries, it's different, but certainly in the United States, you get to, in some states, you can't get a driver's license unless you sign up for selective services at 18. And in some, I'm fairly certain there are still like student loans and grants, like Pell Grants and stuff like that. If you didn't sign up for selective services as a young, if you have a penis and you're 18, you've got to sign that paper and say, I'll join the army if shit comes down. You don't have to do that as a woman. That's the reality. That is, you don't get to argue against that, ladies. No feminist, no suffragette, whatever the hell. No one gets to argue against that reality, but instead that makes you feel bad. So, well, that's horrible, but it's because patriarchy. It's because men run the show. It's because X, Y, and Z. No, it's not. That's the reality. And that's what you're going to have to deal with. And I know that sometimes it's just like, I didn't feel good when I left that interview. Yeah. Well, you're not going to feel good when I say men have to sign up for selective services and women don't, because if they don't, then they don't get the privileges that you do. What do you have to say to that? Well, women fight too. Yeah, electively. They don't have to sign up for shit. But that's again, outside reality world, emotional world. And when they come together, what happens to emotional world? Let's make up another story that makes us feel better. Let's make up a villain out of Harvey Weinstein so we can win. That's what it comes down to.